Oh, you think you have seen drama before? Honey, sit down, because this one is going to shock you. Just when everyone thought the problems between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin had finally calmed down, another big twist has turned everything upside down. And trust me, you are not ready for this one. Chrissy Lampkin? Yes, the same Chrissy who stood by Jim Jones through every problem, every cheating rumor, and every public embarrassment, just got slapped and thrown out of the house. But here is the shocking part. It was not Jim Jones who did it. It was his own son, Joseph Gilmo. Yes, Joseph, the one who has been quietly watching all the problems in the house for years, finally lost his patience. And Chrissy was the one who had to pay the price, and it was not just a slap. Oh no, Joseph reportedly pushed Chrissy out of the house and left her standing on the sidewalk with nothing but her phone and a hurt heart. But why did Joseph finally lose control? And how did Jim Jones react when he found out? Oh, honey, when you hear the full story, you are going to be completely shocked. People close to the family say Joseph had been feeling angry for a long time. He had watched Jim and Chrissy fight, break up, and get back together so many times. It had created a stressful environment in the house. Finally, one small argument between Joseph and Chrissy turned into a big fight. Chrissy tried to tell Joseph what to do, but he was not going to listen. In a moment of anger, Joseph slapped Chrissy before pushing her out of the house. People who saw it say Chrissy looked shocked and embarrassed as she stood outside. And guess what? Jim Jones was not even home when it happened. When he found out, he was very angry. But here's the most surprising part. He was not angry at Joseph. He was angry at Chrissy. Some people say Jim has also been unhappy with Chrissy, but he never showed it before. Now the biggest question is, what will happen next? Chrissy has always been by Jim's side, but will she stay after this public insult? Or will Jim try to fix things? And what about Joseph? Is this the start of a big family fight? One thing is sure, this drama is far from over. Need to catch your breath? Stay tuned, because the truth behind Joseph's anger is even bigger than you think. Oh, you think you have seen drama before? Honey, sit down, because this one is going to shock you. Just when everyone thought the problems between Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin had finally calmed down, another scandal has exploded. And this time, it is bigger and messier than ever. But the most shocking part? It was not Jim Jones causing the drama this time. It was his own son, Joseph Gilmo. Yes, you heard that right. Joseph, the quiet and well-mannered one, finally lost his patience, and Chrissy was the one who suffered for it. Let me tell you what happened. Chrissy, the same woman who stayed with Jim for over 15 years, through cheating scandals, money problems, and non-stop drama, just got slapped and thrown out of the house like she was nothing. And the person who did it? Oh, honey, it was not Jim. It was Joseph. And let me tell you, this was not just a simple argument. Joseph had been holding on to some big secrets for a long time. When he finally lost control, Chrissy was caught right in the middle of the storm. And this was not just about one bad moment. Joseph had been watching everything for years. He saw the fights, the problems, and all the stress in the house. He had enough. When Chrissy tried to talk down to him, Joseph was not going to take it anymore. In a moment of anger, he slapped her and pushed her out of the house. People who saw it say Chrissy looked completely shocked as she stood outside with nothing but her phone. And the biggest twist? Jim Jones was not even home when it happened. When he found out, he was very angry. But here is the surprise. He was not angry at Joseph. He was angry at Chrissy. People close to Jim say he has been frustrated with Chrissy for a long time, but he never showed it. Now the real question is, what happens next? Will Chrissy stay after this public embarrassment? Will Jim try to fix things? And what about Joseph? Is this the beginning of a new family war? One thing is clear, this drama is just getting started. From what I am hearing, the fallout from this is about to get very messy. So how did we get here? Let me break it down for you. If you have been following the roller coaster ride of Jim and Chrissy's relationship, then you already know it has been full of problems from the very beginning. These two have been through everything. cheating rumors, money problems, and that big proposal disaster that fans still talk about. But through all of it, Chrissy stayed. And Joseph? He stayed quiet, watching everything from the side while his father treated Chrissy like she was not important. But a few months ago, everything started to change. Rumors started spreading that Jim was getting close to Brooke Bailey. Yes, Brooke Bailey from Bass. People started whispering that Jim and Brooke had been seen together at private events. And not just standing next to each other, they were looking very comfortable, too close for just friends. And when Chrissy found out, oh, you better believe, it was war. She reportedly went straight to Jim and demanded answers, but Jim, being Jim, acted like it was nothing. He told Chrissy she was making a big deal out of nothing. But honey, Chrissy was not going to let this go. She started looking for the truth, and what she found? Oh, it was enough to make anyone lose control. Sources say Chrissy found real proof, messages that showed Jim and Brooke were more than just friends. When she confronted Jim again, the fight was big. There was shouting, there were threats, and right in the middle of it all, Joseph. Joseph had always been the quiet one, the one who never got involved in his father's problems. But this time, something changed. He had seen his father treat Chrissy badly for years, and he was tired of it. But what really made him angry? Chrissy herself. After her fight with Jim, Chrissy turned to Joseph. She reportedly told him to stay out of it, that this was between her and Jim. And that was the moment everything exploded. Joseph lost control. He told Chrissy exactly what he thought about her staying in a bad relationship for so long. One word led to another, and before anyone knew it, Joseph had slapped Chrissy and pushed her out of the house. Chrissy was left outside, shocked, hurt, and completely alone. And Jim? When he found out, he was angry, but not at Joseph. Oh no. He was angry at Chrissy for letting things get this bad. Now the real question is, what happens next? Is this the end for Jim and Chrissy? And what will Joseph do now? One thing is sure, this drama is just getting started, and the fallout? Oh honey, it is about to get even messier. Jim tried to play it off when Chrissy confronted him. He told her that Brooke was just a friend, and there was nothing going on. But Chrissy did not believe him, especially after the proof started coming out. Screenshots of late-night messages between Jim and Brooke started spreading. These were not just simple "how are you" messages. No, these were "I miss you" and "when are you coming over" kind of messages. Chrissy lost it. According to people close to them, Chrissy and Jim had a huge fight. It was the kind of fight where neighbors could hear everything through the walls. Chrissy told Jim, "If you want Brooke so badly, then go and be with her." Jim did not say a word. But Joseph, oh, he heard every single thing. Joseph had been sitting in the next room while his father and Chrissy screamed at each other, and let me tell you, Joseph was already tired of his father's behavior. He had seen the way Jim treated Chrissy for years, and he had lost respect for him. But when Joseph heard Chrissy accuse Jim of sneaking around with Brooke, that was the last straw. The final breaking point came last week when Chrissy showed up at Jim's house. She was furious because she had heard that Jim had been seen at his hotel in Miami with Brooke. Chrissy arrived without warning, ready to confront Jim face to face, and this time, Joseph was home. Chrissy stormed into the house, shouting and demanding answers. Jim was sitting in the living room, trying to calm her down, but Chrissy was not listening. She started knocking things over, throwing pillows, and demanding to see Jim's phone. That was when Joseph stepped in. Joseph walked into the room and told Chrissy, "This is getting out of control. You need to leave." But Chrissy was not about to take orders from Jim's son. She turned to Joseph, pointed her finger in his face, and said, "This is between me and your father. Stay out of it." "And Joseph?" "Oh," he snapped. Before anyone could react, Joseph slapped Chrissy across the face. And this was not just a light slap. Insiders say it was so loud that it echoed through the house. Chrissy stumbled back, holding her, face in shock. And Jim? Oh, he just sat there frozen, but Joseph was not done. After slapping Chrissy, he pointed at the door and said, "Get out." At first, Chrissy thought Joseph was joking, but he was serious. He walked over to the door, opened it, and said, That is your last warning." Chrissy had no choice but to leave. Sources say she walked out of the house with tears running down her face. Neighbors saw her standing outside, holding her face and talking on the phone. And Joseph? He locked the door and walked away like nothing had happened. Jim? He just sat there, watching it all unfold like he was not even part of it. But here is where things get interesting. Why did Joseph snap? Why, after years of staying quiet, did he finally lose control? Oh, you are not ready for this. Joseph had been sitting on some serious secrets. And when you find out what those secrets are, you will understand exactly why he did what he did. But hold that thought, because this story is far from over. The real reason behind Joseph's meltdown is even messier than you think. Stay tuned for part 2, because when I tell you the truth, it is going to shock you. When Joseph slapped Chrissy and kicked her out, everyone thought that was the end. But no, that was just the beginning. What happened after Chrissy was thrown out of the house? Oh, it is even more scandalous than you think. Now, not only is Joseph at war with Chrissy, but Jim's whole business empire is at risk. And from what I am hearing, the fallout from this could destroy everything. Chrissy was outside, still in shock, holding her cheek. And Jim? Oh, he just sat there, frozen. But Chrissy? She was not going to walk away quietly. According to sources, Chrissy started banging on the door, screaming Joseph's name at the top of her lungs. Neighbors heard her yelling, "Open the door, Joseph! Who do you think you are?" But Joseph? He was not listening. He turned to Jim and said, "Do not even think about opening that door." Jim just sat there, torn between shock and embarrassment. And Chrissy? Oh, she was furious. She started throwing things at the door, her purse, her phone, even her shoes. And when Joseph still did not let her back in, she made a phone call. And guess who she called? Mama Jones. Yes, the queen of drama herself. Mama Jones pulled up to the house like she was ready for war. She banged on the door even harder than Chrissy. When Joseph opened it, she got right up in his face and said, "Have you lost your mind?" But Joseph did not back down. He looked her in the eye and said, "I did what Dad should have done years ago." And Mama Jones? Oh, she was not about to let that slide. She pointed her finger in Joseph's face and said, "You do not put your hands on a woman ever." But Joseph was not backing down. He told her, "Chrissy has been playing Dad for years and you know it." Meanwhile, Chrissy was outside making more phone calls. And within 15 minutes, 3 cars pulled up in front of the house. These were not just her friends coming for support. These were some serious-looking men. Joseph saw them pull up, turned to his father and said, "Do you see what she is doing?" And Jim? He was still silent. The men got out of their cars and started walking toward the house. And Joseph? Oh, he was ready. He told Jim, "If you do not handle this, I will." And that was when Jim finally woke up. He stood up, opened the door, and told Chrissy and her people, "Get off my property." And Chrissy? She was furious. According to sources, Chrissy screamed, "After everything I have done for you, this is how you treat me?" And Joseph? Oh, he had the ultimate clapback. He told Chrissy, "You were not doing it for him. You were doing it for the money." But then Joseph dropped the biggest bombshell. He looked Chrissy dead in the eye and said, "You think I do not know about Freddie?" And Chrissy, she went pale. Freddie, as in Freddie G., Jim's business partner, Joseph had proof. He pulled out his phone and showed messages between Chrissy and Freddie, late night "I miss you" texts, pictures, and even plans to meet at a hotel in Miami. Jim looked at the messages, his face turning white. He asked, "How long has this been going on?" Chrissy had the nerve to say, "You have been doing it to me for years. I was just getting even." And that was it. Jim finally snapped. He pointed to the door and said, "Get out!" But this story is far from over. Because now Freddie is threatening to expose Jim, and if that happens, Jim's whole career could be destroyed. Stay tuned, because part 3 is going to take this drama to a whole new level.